Hello everybody, my name is Colin White. I'm from BI Research. I'm here in sunny Oregon at the Northwest BI Summit. It gives me great pleasure today to talk to someone I've known for many years in many different roles, Harriet Fryman. She's a director of the Business Analytics division of IBM. So welcome, Harriet.
Thanks very much, Colin. Good to be here.
So, I've been doing a lot of work on big data. You're involved in analytics, but also doing a lot of work around the big data area. I mean, there seems to be a lot of hype. I mean, what is the reality of big data today?
There certainly is a lot of hype. Actually, I was thinking of changing my name from Harriet to Victoria to be one of the V's of big data.
No, we're not going to cover the V's today.
We're not covering the V's, but
no.
I think a lot of the hype is about the characteristics and nature of big data and its volume, its velocity, its variety, etc. And really missing from the conversation today is, okay, that's great to explain what big data is, but really how are you going to use it for business value, right?
So you're saying there's too much focus on the data itself, it's more what we want to do with the data and the analytics that we produce from it.
Yeah, because I think the term big data really covers a lot of different types of data. I've heard you say it's almost the stuff you don't include in analytics already, right? And therefore, people are defining the different types of data and how to manage it versus, I now have this great wealth of more information, how can I better use it in my BI or my analytics project?
But when we talk about analytics, I mean, another buzzword that comes out there is advanced analytics. So is that from the analytical side of big data, do we mean advanced analytics?
I think when we look at big data analytics, it's really about sort of three areas. One is, how can I use big data to get more complete answers to questions I already ask? I'm a brand manager and I want to see if my product sales are increasing or declining. I can now have a wealth of more social media data, RFID data to help inform that same old question. I think there's another area where just the fact that more data is captured from instrumentation that wasn't places that we could capture data before, we can ask new questions, new places, new people can ask questions. And then I've actually seen companies actually monetize new business models out of the application of big data. So I think it's more than saying, oh, it's advanced analytics. It's really a blend of new sources of data, a blend of certainly algorithms, and then how do I deliver it to a person to help drive the business forward.
So what you're saying is then that big data applies to many different kinds of analytics, of which one is advanced analytics, and secondly, we can extend what we do today, or we could build sort of new solutions.
Yeah,
but if we look at sort of an existing BI user then, I mean, can you give some examples of the way that they're exploiting the value of big data and analytics?
Yes, I think the one most easily understood is social media data, because we all are on Facebook, Twitter, etc. So we all kind of can relate to that type of new big data source. And so there's a lot of companies looking at how do I get business value out of understanding what's happening in social media channels. So we had one company that was a great example, thought that they had to produce a new product of a certain package type and a certain price point to counter a competitive move at that price point and package. When they looked at all the social media data, they found out that actually if they tweaked their marketing message a bit, focused on some of the value that they had, that they could just change their marketing message and save a whole lot of money from having to produce a whole new package and product type. So very easy to understand application of social media data to analytics.
But if we look at sort of the discussions of big data, a lot of the examples we see are sort of huge amounts of multi-structured data come out from the web and social media environment. I mean, is that what dominates today? I mean, do you see other kinds of applications other than just around the web and social media?
Yes, for sure, because actually there was a stat that Brenda Dietrich, our CTO, likes to quote, which is by 2015 there'll be double the number of networked devices than the global population or something. So there's this whole wealth of machine-generated data that we've really yet to exploit. And I think social media tends to get the hype, but it may be that the real value for the business in analytics is about machine-generated data. So
can you give me some examples? I mean, because some people would argue that sort of weblogs are generated by machines. Did you have something? I mean, perhaps you can give us a clearer definition or some examples of what you mean by sensor data?
Yeah, so a couple of examples. One would be we're working with a river estuary for their water health, to be able to understand the fisheries and what's happening there. So that is sensor data being collected off machines that are sitting in the river and analyzing the water quality. So that's a very non-social media type of thing, but definitely good for the environment.
Yeah, it's nice to have something that helps society, right?
Yeah, well, if you have seen it, there's a great YouTube video called The Data Baby, which is about monitoring the sensors in a neonatal center to see, okay, can we predict if the baby's going into distress before it goes into distress, and therefore use that to help care for newborns.
And that's sort of collecting sensor data from premature babies and actually use that to actually create predictive analytics that enable you to potentially predict sort of health situations ahead of time with the baby.
Exactly,
Is
yeah.
that the deal?
Yeah, because the baby at that age probably can't do Twitter or Facebook yet.
That's true, yeah, that's true. But one last question, I mean, if we look at the marketplace today, we have a lot of different technologies. We have streaming technologies, we have relational systems, we have non-relational systems like Hadoop. And whereas we can see the advantages, there's a lot of pieces, a lot of moving pieces, and I mean, it's going to be a lot of work to bring all these pieces together into a sort of integrated ecosystem. And how does IBM view that? I mean, what does IBM bring to the picture that will help us there?
Yeah, well, I think that this is where we have the kid at the candy store benefit of having lots of capabilities in IBM, so we can really pull them together into solutions. So a couple of areas that I think IBM can really bring value is we tie together our BI or our visualization capabilities with predictive advanced analytics capabilities, together with the fact that we can deal with Hadoop and streams and very large databases. And we have signature solutions where we can bring them together for particular use cases. I think the other area that really IBM is unique in having is our research arm. So the research arm out of which Watson, everybody knows the Jeopardy playing computer, but lots of interesting algorithmic, cognitive thinking, machine learning capabilities out of research to apply to really find what's relevant in big data.
Yeah, it's a fun time at the moment. We're going back to where data sort of is driving everything in our businesses today. So thank you. I'd like to sort of thank you for talking to me today. We could spend hours talking about big data, but thank you. So this is Colin White at the Northwest BI Summit. Thank you for listening, and thank you to Harriet for talking to me today.